name is Brandon Groce. And we are the Game Changers. Designers, creatives alike. We are in a world that runs on value. Our next designs will be the shiniest. Our next animation will be the most buttery. Ladies and gentlemen, Game Changers, let the games begin. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Editor X Live with me, your host, Brandon Groce. I'm super excited to have you guys here, and those of you in the live chat, we have Gabriel and many other people. Welcome. Today we're going to be working on something super awesome, and with that being said, let me go ahead and move to my screen so I can show you exactly what that is. And by the way, there are no assets in the link in the description for this. You guys can make everything that we're going to be doing together today all in your browser. So let's go ahead and move to my screen. So like I said, I was super inspired to create basically what you see here using purely hover animations. And so I was inspired by this amazing individual, L Store Graphics, or really it's a platform that has amazing mock-ups. And so I took it upon myself to be like, listen, I know we can make some really cool hover animations in Editor X, so let's go ahead and see what we can do. And we tried to recreate it. So this is what we've come up with. It didn't take too long to build this, but hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to make this in a short period of time. But with that said, let's go ahead and break this down, see how this was made, and then recreate it. And by the way, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell notification because we have cool and amazing tutorials on this channel like this. There's more where this came from. So with this said, what we have here, let's just go to our layers. We have a singular section. We have a singular container that has another container within it, and basically a whole bunch of individual photos that we basically took from the that are from the Wix sort of not infrastructure, but Wix gives us those assets. We don't have to go out and get them. So if I hide this container, just don't display, we have all of these images just centered behind our container here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is we are just going to open up a new page. We're going to start this puppy from scratch, and if you guys have any questions in the live chat, feel free to ask and I'll make sure to answer them. So I am going to make a new page here. We're just going to call this hover tut. What is going on, Kimberly? What's going on, Gabriel? Glad to have you in the live chat today. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to delete our header and footer. We do not need those. And we are going to just do a 100% vertical height for our section. And we are going to refresh so I can actually see the changes that I've made to that section actually appear. And within that section, we're just going to simply make a container. And you know what I think I might do, because I've kind of gone through this already and I think I have a faster approach to this. I am going to, first off, I'm going to make this page our home page so we don't run into any problems every time I refresh. It goes to the other page. I'm going to very quickly create or add to our page some images. And I'm just going to scale this to about this size. And I'm just going to make sure that they're centered. I'm going to change the image. I've already saved the files, or excuse me, I've saved the site photos that I wanted. All I literally typed in was mockup. Excuse me, my eye is itchy. All I did was type up mockup, and I've saved a couple of these photos that I like that have to do with UI or product design. So I have saved them in my boards and in my favorites. So I'm just going to open this up. And I am going to start just updating these here. So Control D, center this photo again, change image, and just adding in our photos here. Control D, bringing them back to the center, change image, rinse and repeat. Control D, center, update, two more times, change image, update, and last time. And of course, you guys can do this as much as you want, but I found that doing this second was a little bit of a pain in the butt when we started to do animations. All right, so let's go ahead and let's add our. We're gonna add two containers here. So first off, I am going to select all of our images here, place in container just like this, and I'm actually going to scale our container quite wide. I'm going to center it here. Now all of the content within it, these pieces here, I do not necessarily want them to scale 100% to the container that we've made here. So we're just going to go ahead within these and just type in 25%. Or actually, let me undo this. Let's see if there's a little bit of a smarter way to do this. What I might do is I am just going to quick add container. I'm going to scale this by itself without the photos being in here. I'm then going to select all of the images, holding shift in my layers panel. I'm gonna Control X, select my container, Control V. Now all of the photos are inside of our container, much easier. This container, we are going to reduce the background to 0 opacity. And perfect. So we have our background container with our images at the correct size that we want. Now we're going to go ahead and create this box here, or this container. So I'm going to hide this container. We don't need this for right now. We're going to set this to don't display. And we are going to go ahead and right click, quick add container. And we're going to give this a 400 by 400 sort of sizing. So 400 pixels, and maybe we'll do 300 by 300. Nah. we'll do 380 by 380. That still feels kind of small to me, but maybe we'll keep it at this. But to begin with, I am going to set the background of this to white. We're going to grab a border. We're going to give the width to be 1, and our color for the border, we're going to do a little bit of a light gray, just like that. So this is what we're having so far, and so far so good. As you guys can see, we have a little bit of a light background, or a light how do you say, light outline. We have a little bit of a bottom orange here, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and add those things here. So first off, I do want to actually apply a grid to this container. I'm going to do a 2 by 2, and I'm going to pull this over for the content over here. We're going to have some space over here for our arrow and space over here for that little /1. And we're going to bring this down here just for our words. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to go to our plus here, go to decorative, and find a horizontal thick line just like this. I'll pull this in, scale it to about here, maximize it to its full width. I'm going to undock everything so I can actually use my alignment tools. And why I did that is if things are docked, I can't actually use my alignment tools. Or let me see. Let me Control Z, because this is actually a problem I ran into beforehand, and I wasn't able to use my actual alignment tools. But yeah, so when I used this, when I stretched it, right, my alignment tools right here are disabled. So what I had to do is I had to undock everything, and now my alignment tools are accessible to me. So I'm going to align this to the bottom, and now we are going to go to my design tab and pick our lovely orange. We're going to add our text here. We're going to add our title. And I have no idea what the words were. What was it? Device mockups. So we're going to copy that, paste, scale this to be the proper size. And we are just going to change the font. We're gonna do, this font is called Din. This is the same font that is on the Tesla website. Actually, I think it's D-Din. Yeah, D-Din, there we go. And we're just gonna do D-Din bold. We're gonna have a vertical spacing of about 1. And we are going to make this about, let's make this 35 pixels. And we are going to make the margin be in pixels. We'll do 35 pixels from the left and 35 pixels from the bottom. A negative 35. There we go. Actually, we might actually reduce that. So I'm gonna use my arrow keys just to push this into a spot that I kind of like. I think that's good for us. All right, now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to right click, quick add paragraph. I'm just going to do a / enter and a 1. Control A to select all, and I'm just gonna bold this. I'm gonna squeeze this. Pull this over here. Edit text, we're going to reduce the auto or our spacing here to, again, just 1, hit enter. Find a spot that I like, and I'm gonna change this to our lovely orange. All right, so let's go to edit text, boom, and boom. And ladies and gentlemen, I know those of you in the chat, if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the live chat, because I know I'm going pretty fast. But again, like I said, we want to make sure that those who are rewatching this get the maximum, and you guys know how I like to talk. But also, that is what our Discord is for. So if you guys have questions in regards to really anything about EditorX, or you have additional questions that are not being answered as we're going through this walkthrough, feel free to drop them in our Discord, which is, you can find the link down in the description. Join our amazing community of amazing web designers and people like myself and the EditorX team to help you in your EditorX journey. All right, so we need one more thing to add. We need to do a quick add, a shape, and this is where we're gonna grab our arrow. So I'm gonna just type in arrow here, and we're gonna grab a nice elongated arrow. Let's see what we can find. Boop, 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 boop. I think this works. We'll pick this one. Doesn't matter if it's downwards. Now, the arrow is a little stretched, so I'm going to go to our cogwheel here. I'm going to keep proportions. I'm going to make sure that's selected. And I am going to go to our layouts here, scroll down to adjust, and rotate this about, what is it, 45 degrees? No, not 45. We're gonna do negative 90 degrees. Perfect. We're gonna scale this a little bit. There we go. And we're gonna pull this into our little our right quadrant. Make sure that it's horizontally and vertically aligned with our content here. Now what we're gonna do for this initial state, we're actually gonna set this to a 0 opacity. So I'm gonna go to design here, and I want the opacity and color to actually be 0. Because if we take a look over here, you cannot see the arrow until it is hovered, or until we hover on the actual container. All right. So next, what we are going to do is we are going to create let's take a look at my layers here. Okay. So we have pretty much everything made. All of our assets are on the artboard, or not on the artboard, are made. All we need to do now is create our hover interaction. And before we do that, what I want to do is I want to show our container again. And I want to add this container inside of the first container we made. And the reason I'm doing that is because we want one element, when it is hovered, to activate all of the things within it. So I'm going to Control X this container, select our initial container, Control V, perfect. And now we have one container. Once it's hovered, we'll control everything else that's within it, and I'll show you how we do that. So we are going to call this, what should we call this? We'll just call this main hover container. All right. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to select this. We are then going to go over to our interactions over here. Click this. And we want to add a trigger. We want a hover. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to affect this element, or really everything else that is on the canvas that we select. So we're going to go ahead and choose this. And we are going to select everything that is within this container. Just holding shift and selecting everything here. I'm going to select done. And now I get to select what is the effect that I want to apply to everything I've basically just selected. And now there are some presets, but right here what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to click on custom. And we're going to call this hover effect, or hover card effect. You guys can name it whatever you want. Start designing. And now what this allows me to do is I get to design what happens on hover. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, first off, I'm going to take our container's color from white to black. And we get to say basically how long or how short we want that animation to be, as well as what type of easing I want. We're going to keep it ease in and ease out. We're going to edit the text. So I'm selecting the text. I want the text to turn white. Next thing is we're going to select our arrow here. And we are going to, we want the opacity to be 100%. But we changed the wrong setting. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go to initial state. And I need to change this here. We will do that in just a hot second, but let's fix all the other animations first, and then we'll go back and fix that one little change. So next thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go to these images next. Now it's gonna be a little bit difficult to move these images with my mouse manually. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is use the right hand side tools to actually move them with the X and Y translate. And then once I remove them from underneath that card, then I can manually move them. So I am going to do a 180 pixels translate to the right. I'm actually going to do that to the left. Or no, we'll do that to the right first. I'm going to go to the next image, and I'm going to move this to we'll move this to the left, negative 180. We're going to do negative 180. And we are going to move this up by about 50. Or down by 50. Well, now we can move this a little bit. I'm actually going to move this over here. I'm going to move this by negative 180. Negative 50. I want this to be up here. See, once I get it out from underneath the card, I can move it manually. But if I try to actually select this, I'm going to end up moving this white container. Now, Lorraine is asking, do you guys have access to the beta hover interactions? I remember, Lorraine, I remember you asking this in the chat, and there was a conversation in another EditorX communication group that I'm a part of, and I think what they have to do, because and I think even Kimberly mentioned this in the I think in conversations with me, is that the EditorX team has to go and check like each individual website that the users have to make sure when they make this interaction switch that it doesn't mess up the websites they already have made. So I think it's a very manual process for EditorX, and they're literally going into all their users accounts and making sure that when this beta change happens, it doesn't mess up any of the sites that they've made with the previous interactions so that they can very easily switch over to the new feature. So I hope that answers your question. I probably think that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but I think that's the process that they're having to go through. But to give you an even better answer is that the interactions that you are watching here today, they're still possible with how do I say, the legacy interactions. The options just look a little bit different. And so let me go ahead and move. I think there's 2 more images that we have to move here. Translate, we're gonna do 150 or negative 150. And we're gonna do 80. Okay, we're gonna pull that down. And there's 1 more image down here, and we're just gonna translate this to be 180. There we go. Okay, so now we can play around with some of the rotations here. Let's see, try to find a nice aesthetic. Just clicking these, rotating them about to see what looks best. And I kind of want everything to kind of go in a little bit of a circular way. So I'm kind of twisting them to look like they're moving almost in a wheel. Let's do negative 15. All right. See what this looks like, negative 10. Pull this down a little bit. All right, and then when I'm happy with it, I am going to go ahead and oh no, I changed the initial state, guys. I messed up. Oh, that sucks. All right, let me control Z everything, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I can't even control Z. I'm gonna have to put these back. I'm just gonna have to zero everything out. All right, that's what I want to do on the hover state, guys, not on the initial state. The initial state is basically where things are starting. So that was my bad. I was wondering why this card was white. I was like, wait, what? Okay, hover state, we have our black. We're gonna actually increase the scale of our container here so it looks like it's coming a little bit forward. So we're gonna scale this to 120 pixels or 120 by 120%. Maybe 110 is fine. And maybe we'll rotate it a little bit. Maybe we'll rotate it about like 5%. 5% is too much. All right, let's do 2. Maybe 1. Maybe 1.5. All right. Now let's go back to our images and let's pull these out again using our translation. Let's pull this out here. We're gonna do about 2% rotation, negative 10% rather. Pull this out, negative 180. Pull this out, 10% rotation, negative 10. Oh, thank you, Lorraine. You even you totally told me in the chat that I was on the wrong thing. Thank you very much. The teamwork makes the dream work, guys. I appreciate that. See, juggling the conversation plus the work, things get a little messy. All right, we're gonna do negative 5 here. Maybe we'll do this a little bit more. Negative 115, rotate it a bit more. I'm gonna pull this down, 180. Pull this up here. 180. Pull this here. And last one, 180. There you go. All right, so now I'm just going to mess around with the rotation. Let's do negative 10. do negative 15, negative 25. Just trying to find the right amount of rotation, ladies and gentlemen. Negative 35, see what that does. I really wish that there was like a little knob that I could rotate. That would be just like you can with the shadows. That would be super awesome to be able to do here as well. Pull this out just like this and like this. All right. Okay. So now we kind of have all these things somewhat circulating. Now I'm going to just order the layers just a little bit. And of course you guys can take the time to organize and things of that nature. But what I want to do next is I want to deal with these timings. Because if we just take a peek at what we have right now, I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Let's preview this. Oops. Container, trigger. Aha. So we did already add a trigger, but we need to add our interaction that we created. So we're going to go to effect and we're going to select the hover card effect that we made, hit done. Now we can go to preview. So this is what we have. Now, a couple things that we want to fix here is the timing in which these cards come out, the timing in which this text changes to white. We want to get rid of this gray border. We want to add a shadow, and that orange arrow we want to pop up. So first things first, let's go here. Let's fix this arrow. Color, we want to set to 100, and we want it to be orange. Okay, let's go back to our main cover animation. Let's go to our effects here. We're going to go back to edit. We are on our, let's go to our initial state, and we want to set this arrow to 0 opacity, so it will be invisible on the initial state. All right. I was just checking chat really quick to see what you guys were discussing, but it looks like all things are good. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch back to hover card effect. We are going to we're going to click our container here, our black one. We're going to go to our border. We're going to turn off the width because we don't want a border on this piece. We are going to then now work on our timing. So I'm going to click timing here so I get this little panel. And I want to edit our text here first. And I want this to be the first thing or the quickest animation. I don't want it to take 0.3 seconds. So I'm going to do 0.1, hit enter. And this whole timing thing, what I love about it is it sets the fastest animations at the top here so you can see sequentially what is going to happen first and all the way to what's going to happen last. So boom, we have 0.1. We're also going to set this to 0.1. And now we are going to basically make a cascading animation. This card we want to come out first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So we're going to click on this card, find it in our timing. So we're going to do, this is going to be 0.2. Oops, not 0.1. 0.2. 0.3. 0.4. 0.5. 0.6. 0.7. All right, and let's just diagnose. Let's see what happens. We're going to go ahead and hit done. Let's go to preview, and let's see what we have. There we go. Very clean. And now what we can do, if you guys see this, there's like a little bit of a glitch when it comes to the border. What we're gonna do there, and we also want to add a shadow. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So we're gonna go back to edit site, select our main hover container. Now Kimberly is asking in the live chat, there is a rotate toggle. You have to hover over the image and then it will show up. Interesting. Let me see. Let's go to Oh, you're talking about this. I wonder if that has that there in the, I'm not sure if it has that in the animation. So let's try that. Yeah, I don't think it has that for, I knew it had that for the regular editor, but it doesn't have that for the animation, sadly. The options change a little bit when it comes to the hover interactions. All right, let's do, what did we say we were gonna do? We're gonna deal with that border. So we're gonna set this back to 1, but rather we're gonna change the color to black. So it has a little bit of a smoother transition. We're gonna add a shadow. We're gonna enable this. We're gonna give it a little bit of an angle. Distance, let's go ahead and make that. We're gonna increase the size a little bit. The blur. And we're gonna reduce the opacity just a little bit. And we're gonna click done. Preview. We're looking good. It's very nice, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm really excited to see what you guys produce with this. And again, this is just another example of like what can be done. Again, we've done hover interactions in the past, but I think this is a little bit more of like, this is a little bit advanced. We did some very interesting things in the first couple weeks of these lives, and now we're kind of skill stacking here. So I'm really excited to see this. So, ladies and gents, that is it for today's tutorial. Now, if you want to publish this, go ahead and click the publish button. I have already saved this. We can view it on the site. And let's give it a moment. What? Let's see what went down. Because this should not be white. Let me go ahead and let's go back to edit site here. I'm going to make sure my page, this is correct. It is the home page. I wonder why it is not showing anything, because like I showed you guys before, if I set the previous home page as the home page and we go to publish, let's go to view. Because this was the published site and there was no problemos with this one. So I'm really curious why. Maybe I'm having internet problems or something else, but this was the initial live site that we started with, and I just changed the home pages. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to leave this URL in the challenge Discord for you guys to check out, but I do want to showcase some of the amazing work of the people in our Discord. Where's the Discord? the challenges submitted from yesterday. So let's go ahead in our Discord and take a peep at those. So yesterday's challenge was, let's see, working with spline, which is a pretty cool. Let's see, let me go ahead and open up from Kimberly, Gabriel, and Yuya. Let's see what we got going on here. So Yuya, I think you submitted the vertical menu, which I thought was absolutely awesome, and you're getting a grasp of Editor X. Very nice work. This was from Kimberly. I love the fact that you used the Homer Simpson. I love how you incorporated the 3D here, basically advertising Duff, a drink from The Simpsons. And I'm actually really curious. This is the stuff that I would love to hear, how you solve this in the Editor X Discord. Kimberly was asking how to basically keep only a certain portion of the 3D animation within a certain part of the website, and she seemed to have done it very well. She used multi-states and the ability to, she's tied a lot of things here. This is a great example of skill stacking. I love the fact that you've limited the 3D interactions to just that portion of the site. Excellent job. And of course, the Coest Studio peeps made their logo 3D, and you can zoom in, zoom out, and all the cool things. Actually, I'm curious, can we zoom in and zoom out on the thing on Kimberly's? Because if you locked everything, those are more things for... Very cool. All right, cool. Because I was about to say, I was like, if you were able to lock everything, you need to teach us how you did that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching, this is again another reason to join the Discord, because I show you stuff, but the people who are creating things on the regular with us have just as much to share with us as I do. And so do you. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out. If you've enjoyed this episode and this video, there's a lot more that came from. First off, join our Discord. You're going to learn a lot, and you're able to ask as many questions as you want and desire to help you along in your EditRx journey. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, and hit the bell notification to get notified when we go live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for hanging out, and I'll see you in our Discord. Thank you so much, Lorraine, Kimberly, Victor, Gabriel, for hanging out. And for those of you who, let me see. Lorraine is asking, can I drop in assets? I have no assets. I literally took all of the assets, Lorraine, I took from the Wix photos. So I don't have any assets for this in particular. So all I've basically built this project with are just containers with colors and basically free photos that I pulled from Wix. So I highly recommend you use those, because those are probably going to be better assets than really the ones that I give you. Other than that, thank you guys for hanging out, and I will see you in the Discord. Keep hanging, keep making cool things, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Don't respond to websites.